Welcome to the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage, where rude mechanicals do magic. Hello, I'm Bronze Age, Director of the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage. And today we have a real challenge on the BF bench. This is a dining room chair. It's the style usually referred to as a pub chair, which basically means that there is a frame with the legs mortise and tenoned or dowel jointed or somehow connected to these boards, and the seat sits on top of it, as opposed to a Windsor chair where the seat is a big thick plank and the legs and the back and everything go into holes in it. Now this is probably from the 70s. It's got this really nice bamboo style back here. It's not really bamboo. What it actually is one single piece of die-cast polymer resin, or as some people would call it, plastic. In addition to this piece, which is broken off, we've also got this piece and this piece cracked. So that's going to be the subject of our repairs. Now the cause of this failure, even though this chair probably did last in good condition for 50 years, can be seen on this break here. There are actually bubbles, including this one long piece that goes all the way across. So if there was actually any really weak spot in the whole thing, this would be where it was, and who knows how many more there are. Another weak spot is there's actually a tenon cast into the end of it. It's not centered, but the rest of this is inside the chair back frame. Fortunately for us, the frame is all wood, and on top of that it's painted. So whatever repair I make on this, where I'm obviously going to have to be drilling through the frame for whatever kind of idea I come up with, I'll be able to cover it up with some kind of paint that matches well enough, and we hope that nobody will ever know it happened. When you've got to put a big piece like a chair on a drill press table, it's good to have it on wheels, so you can get around the back of it. There's always going to be the clamp handle. There may be a more Rube Goldberg kind of clamping solution somewhere, but I've never seen it. The problem is none of the flat surfaces are square to where I have to drill. On top of that, I'm drilling through wood into the resin, and this piece is broken loose here. So I've got to get this locked into place so it can't move or slip or tilt or anything like that while I'm drilling. Because one thing is certain, I only get one chance at this. If it breaks or the drill bit goes off center, kind of like in a really bad place. Now I have this lined up by eye, which is really the only possible way to do it. I do have some nice high-tech stuff here, but again, no flat surfaces to put it on. I'm starting with a Forstner bit because I want to be able to cover this hole up with wood filler and paint over it, and that should give me a nice uniform spot to do it with. So here goes. Now I've switched to a 7mm bit, and I'm going to finish off the hole all the way down into the plastic resin. And of course, when you're drilling resin, any other kind of plastic material, it tends to get sticky. hit this with a pen with the intention of keeping everything nice and straight when I do the really difficult one. In the department of you learn something new every day, the shavings from the drill bit come out of this polymer resin. Very soft and kind of sticky when it's hot. It quickly dries, cools off into something brittle. Very difficult to get out of the hole. So I spent a little bit of time here coming up with various different smaller drill bits to get in here and try and hog out the shavings, which cooled at the bottom of it and became polymer resin again, I guess. Now the plan for this repair is to fill this hole with some quick setting epoxy, clear. I've got this short piece of steel pin, which is going to go in here like that, and let this stuff set up for a couple hours, and that should make this thing rigid enough that I can start on the trying to drill a hole through a piece that's broken off like that. Now mixing epoxy on video is about as exciting as mixing paint, which is about as exciting as watching paint dry. But what's very important is the mixing. Two-part epoxy is not like iced tea or lemonade, where you're going to put sugar in it and let it sit. The sugar will go all the way through it. Epoxy just doesn't do that. You've got to mix it until every one of your little white cap epoxy molecules, W on it, and your little red cap molecules actually meet a friend and hook up. Because I can testify from experience that if you do not mix it enough, what you will end up with is just a bunch of goo that never sets. Give it a day, give it a week, give it whatever, you still got this sticky mess that you're trying to hold something together. It's just not going to happen. Well, that sounds like it's in there pretty solid, and it's coming up on closing time, so let this sit overnight. Won't hurt anything. The epoxy's cured overnight, and I'm really happy with the way this came out. But there were some lessons learned on it. One is that I don't think it's practical to try and drill all the way through this broken piece into the other part. Now you can learn a lot from failures, but you can learn a lot more things that almost failed, where you got away with it just barely. And in this case, this resin gets really gummy when it gets hot, and then it cools and hardens really quickly. So trying to drill all the way through here, what's most likely to happen is that as soon as you cut the drill press off, or you're going to basically glue your drill bit inside here with no easy way to get it out, because that's just the way this stuff works. So the plan now is to duplicate this short pin and rely on simple epoxy here at this end, which seems to bond very well with this resin. And we'll put this back in like that, and be 2/3 way through this repair. Now this leads us to another peculiar clamping problem. The broken piece fits in here pretty nicely. No missing chips or anything like that, and it should go back in without leaving too much of a scar. But the problem is, it's wedge shaped. And when I go to put this big clamp on here to hold it tight, it just wants to pop out. So the solution there is a couple more little custom pads. This one for the bottom of this clamp, which will go on here and hold this clamp at the right orientation so that I can draw this down. I hold it nice and tight so that it'll stay in place when this one goes on. Now that I'm happy with that, it's time to mix up some more epoxy and let this set and cure before I try to drill into this nasty plastic resin again.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson. Danger. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson. Danger.
Well, there's always a surprise in this kind of work. Apparently there is a steel screw that holds this finial on here that goes down about that far. And it pretty much toasted this portion of it. I've had to go in here with regular twist bits and take a piece of it out and trying not to make a break out through the side here. Okay. Cut that to size, mix up some more epoxy, and we'll be almost finished with this job. Bondo is a trademark name for a two-part automobile body filler, and I've used it in many different kinds of products they have for repaired furniture many times, especially when there's insect damage or rot in a spot that doesn't have any structural function. I use the fiberglass compound when it's got to be really strong and hold something. But I was not too surprised to see that they started making wood filler. And I like this probably better than any other kind of wood filler I've used, mainly because it cures so quickly. 15-20 minutes, it's ready to be worked on again, instead of having to let a piece sit over on the side for a couple hours or overnight. And I'm going to mix up just a little bit here. And if I can keep Ruby's nose out of it, be able to patch this thing, and then start working on the matching the paint for the finish before I go home this afternoon. Keep your kitty nose out of this, Ruby. Now when that cures, instead of sanding it, what I'll actually do is scrape it down with a single-edged razor blade. It may take a second application if it shrinks any. This stuff doesn't shrink nearly as much as regular wood filler does. So we just wait a little while. Now I'll start looking at all my different colors of paint, see what I can come up with that's close to this cream yellow kind of treatment. So this is Bronze Age for the Secret Underground Laboratory. Asking that if you like this video, please click the like button, subscribe, even share with your friends. We'd really appreciate it very much. Ruby does enjoy the attention, so if you have any comments or questions for him, please put them down there. We see you in the next video. Thank you.